Let's bring in Foreign Affairs Congressman Brian Mast. Congressman, it's great to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you too, Jackie.
All right. So McCall met with the Taiwanese president, and he told her that the U.S. would provide training and weapons to Taiwan's armed forces to support its defense against China. And then all of a sudden, China punches back and slaps him with sanctions. You know, I find this particularly interesting in light of the fact that the whole conflict between Russia and Ukraine started over the fact that the Russians basically said they didn't want Ukraine to join NATO. And the argument here in the United States was, well, Russia can't tell Ukraine who it can and cannot be friends with. Yet you've got a situation here where China is dictating who U.S. lawmakers can and cannot speak to. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, a number of thoughts on this. This is partially par for the course. About a year ago, I was sanctioned by Russia, other members of the Foreign Affairs Committee. So we're not surprised to see China do this to Michael McCall, chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, very outspoken in his support for Taiwan, which is what the United States of America should be on this front. But the real reaction to what's going on, it feels like a very bitter divorce that goes on between two individuals where every single little thing that takes place just continues to set these two entities on a collision course to one another. And that's how I feel about China and the United States right now. Every day, every little thing that happens is putting us more and more on a collision course with one another.
Well, let me ask you a question, and that would be very simple, which is, how did we get here? Because when you look at the relationship that we had with China when President Trump was in the White House, things were seemingly more under control. For that matter, Vladimir Putin was in his place as well and not making threats of trying to take over additional territories. Having said that, it seems like as soon as President Biden entered office, things started to unravel. They started to fall apart because our foes around the world saw a weak leader and took advantage of it. That's what seems to be happening here with respect to China and its dealings with us.
Yeah, I would sum that up very similar to the way you just said it, except I would say it this way. No strength, no peace. And we always say peace through strength, but we don't have this with this administration. They allow these fires to burn all across the globe, whether with Iran, Israel, United States of America, China brokering deals between Iran and Saudi Arabia, allies moving closer to China, France and Macron saying that they're going to push NATO away from any U.S.-China-Taiwan conflict, what goes on with Russia and the Ukraine, our reaction to that. The list goes on and on of these fires. And then, of course, there's the leaks that are going on, blunder after blunder, no strength under this administration.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the leaks as well, those classified documents. We are still trying to figure out what the motive was of that 21-year-old gentleman who leaked those documents. But having said that, partially, part of the content that was leaked was that these documents showed the Russians saying that the Chinese agreed to secretly provide weapons in the war in Ukraine. So you see, if there was any question about this alliance between the Chinese and Russia, you see that it's very clear, and it's building.
Yeah, it is building. Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin have a very close relationship, and I'm saying that as an understatement. They attend each other's birthday parties. As two state leaders, they have been together a minimum of 40 to 50 different times. They meet at the Olympics. They say there's no limit to where their relationship will go and what they will do for one another. That's the relationship that we're looking at here. So it's not surprising at all to see those kind of statements be leaked about what China's support will be for Russia in this conflict.
Can we talk about the leaker himself just before I let you go? Jack Teixeira, 21 years old, Air National Guardsman from Massachusetts. Again, motives, not really sure. Our guests that were on in the previous segment were talking about how we have to try to shore up the system, not give so many people access to classified information. I'm curious to get your take.
You're in the military, you fill out about 135 pages of what's known as SF-86, National Security Questionnaire, and typically they send around a contracted investigator to meet with you, with everybody that's been where you've worked, gone to school, anything else, and they investigate that. We should find out who this investigator was, who else they investigated, and what they came up with this individual.
Yeah. Congressman Brian Mast, thank you so much. Great insights. Always great to have you on the Evening Edit.
All the best.